everybody, this is Heather and I'm here today celebrating the 150th celebration of the town of Cary. We actually just had a train go by, so I believe that the other live stream probably picked that up. So that was, if anything, was a glimpse back in time of how Cary used to look. That's definitely one of them. The historic train going through Cary, there's just almost nothing more Cary than that. So today, I'm going to show you, this is something I didn't even know, and I love Cary history. We're going to talk about Railroad Street. So this was a street, and I'm going to go ahead and flip the camera around and let you start looking. Today, you would know it as a different name. Cedar Street. This little, what is today essentially a side road. I mean, this is honestly the street that I park on if I'm going to be hanging out at the Cary Theater or Bond Brothers. I usually just park on this street. I would never have guessed that this street has such a history behind it. But in fact, this street, I guess we should have known that it had a history because it's right beside this. The train just went by, so I'm going to take a step up here to the crosswalk area, and we're going to take a look at the railroad and walk down Railroad Street. So this is an iconic Cary view, and now I'm going to show you a view that is about as old as Cary itself, and it's this. Looking down the railroad and seeing the Page Walker sitting there. Obviously, we all know the Page Walker is just, you just heard the story of Page Walker. It played a huge central role in the founding of the town. Now, this whole area looks very different, right? This would have been woods, and it would have been a couple of railroad houses. Oh my, we might get another opportunity for a very historic Cary moment. I'm gonna back up. So you can see, we're gonna get closer to the Page Walker. So you're able to see, this is where they were just streaming from. And now we're over here on Cedar Street. You can still see it. This is a view I don't often think about. That you can see the Page Walker from here with the railroad going past it, and here comes the train. This little street, not only was it called Railroad Street, for obvious reasons, there is an iconic, there you go guys. It doesn't get more Cary than that. That is about the most Cary sight you'll ever see right there. I used to work at Town Hall, and pretty much every morning I would get stuck waiting for the train to go by. And I was always annoyed by it, but maybe I should have realized I was seeing part of history. So I want to show you what this street used to look like. So again, this is typically where people think of parking their cars now. If you're wondering where I am, we're about to walk past the little shopping center. And if you look through it, you'll see the Cary Theater. But this is what used to stand here. I'm going to try to get an area with no glare. And we have a map as well. So right here, you can get an idea of what it used to look like. Trying to get there we go. So you can see there's the railroad house, and of course nowadays it's just the clean railroad going through, but you can still see that very iconic historic site. I know, I love that the train came through. Absolutely perfect little glimpse of Cary history. So this is the parking street now, but this used to be the central street of Cary. So we tend to think of Chatham Street or maybe Academy Street as the central street of Cary, but that's actually not true. So let's take a look. Here is a nice old picture. We actually weren't able to determine exactly which railroad house this was. There would have been two, but this would have been standing very likely over there. And in fact, we have a map. Here you go. This, to me, was like a gold mine. We have been posting this on on our Friends of Paige Walker Facebook page. You can see there's the Paige Walker, or the Walker Hotel. Here's the train going by. And here, this is the Southern Railroad Depot. We think that's the one that you're seeing in this picture here. So that is right there. The wind's taking it away. And then you have another Seaboard station right here. And in fact, today, it's not really that different, right? Because you have a station right down there. So that same station that's down there today, obviously it's not one of these historic ones, but we still have kind of a similar layout. And then if you get closer, you can see, I believe this is going to be Academy Street, which I believe was a dirt road at one point. And there's the Cary School, Cary High right down there. We will be going to live stream from that location. And then some of the older churches are also here, and that's going to be one of our live streams as well. You can see that along this stretch, which again, today isn't really a stretch that most people often spend a lot of time hanging out at. This would have been the Chatham Street. So Chatham Street is probably right back here. And this is where everything is today, right? The pharmacy, Bottle and Brewing, Ashworth's, the Cary Theater. And here, it would have been down here on this street instead. I think that's fascinating. Look, we have Waldo Drugs. So Waldo, that name Waldo, is it Waldo Rood? I've always wondered about that street name, and it was one of our mayors. And then we had the Jones store, and look at that front, very historic. And then we have a picture of someone going by in a horse and carriage, and then there's the blacksmith. This was Chatham Street. I mean, it wasn't, it was Cedar Street, well, it was Railroad Street. But this was what is Chatham Street for us today. And it was right here. And you could see Paige Walker from it. And I guess it does make sense that wouldn't you want to build all of your stuff right next to the Paige Walker, which was kind of the center of everything. And you can see, here's the old Methodist church, the guest house. And some of these houses are still standing today, right? And the churches are still standing. This is a fantastic map. We will show you. There's the Ivy Ellington house, and it has its neighbors beside it. This is still here. So take a look at this. This is definitely on our Facebook page if you're interested in seeing more of it. And I have one more picture to show you, and then I'm going to pass things off to our next live streamer. This right here, this is the Cary Cotton Factory. Obviously, this is a piece of art, a drawing. But this would have been standing, and let's look at our map to make sure that I know exactly where it would be. This would have been right there, the factory building. So it would have been right there on the corner. So right there on the corner where I believe is at a fire station today, that would have instead been this. So if you can imagine driving past Cedar Street, waiting for the train, and the next time you're stuck waiting for the train and looking around, nothing to do, imagine that you're 150 years ago in Cary and you're seeing the view of the Cary Cotton Factory, which would have been there. By the way, this area, a lot of it burned down, if you're wondering what happened to it. And then things moved to Chatham Street. But if you're stuck sitting there waiting for the train to go by, try to enjoy the historic site. Some things about Cary have not changed. We have lost some historic buildings, but there's a lot that's still standing, a lot that hasn't changed, and a lot that looks the same. So that is my little tour of Cedar Street, also known as Railroad Street, which I think is what I'll call it from now on. And don't go anywhere. As part of Cary's 150th anniversary celebration, we're doing a 4-part live stream. So next, we've got one of our historic guides hanging out down by one of the historic churches. She has some things to show you that I don't think you've seen before. I certainly hadn't seen them. So stick around, and another live stream will be popping up in just a few minutes. I'll show you the direction we're going. So we're going to be heading that way, and she's going to pop up down there by the churches. Thank you, everybody. Stick around for our next live stream starting now.